Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anthony. I work here at Orange County Realtors along with Leo Loera. We are your certified zipForms trainers here at Orange County Realtors. Now, just to tell you a little bit about ourselves, again, my name is Anthony. I work here at Orange County Realtors. I've been here now for a little over 19 years, started off in the MLS department. So no guarantee that we'll both speak to you all regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What we're both involved with is the outreach program. The outreach program is designed to give you training on all your tools and products. Today, our trainer, Leo Loera, will go over how to digitally sign documents using either Docusign or digital ink. And he's going to go over the differences between the two. Now, the whole goal behind this class is to show you the differences between the two systems, not just talk about them, but show you from start to finish. So if you're a Docusign user, we can show you some nice little cool shortcuts to save you time and effort on setting up your documents using Docusign. But if you're also a digital ink user, we're going to show you how to utilize digital ink from start to finish with both platforms, what signers will experience, and of course, things like that. Now, Leo, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
I am wonderful. I am truly wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
But more than that. Well, yes, my name is Leo Loera at the Orange County Realtors. I have been with this association since 2007. I too started off in membership and progressed from membership over to becoming the super key specialist. And from there, I was also a trainer, and I still am a trainer. And we teach a number of different topics, including zipForms, Supra, and other membership topics. We've done trainings in person in the past in some of our offices, Mountain Valley, Laguna Hills. And we've also done some training at some of the larger real estate offices as well in the past. And currently, we just do webinars, and we're able to still continue that. It's still teaching via webinar, whether it's here with all of you or in some of the real estate offices that are affiliated with our association. So yes, and also my training with zipForms, it has been a fun process. I learned quite a bit, picking up on learning on different venues, whether it's California Association Realtors website, other realtor members, they're using zipForms, and also my dear friend, Anthony. Anthony had a number of different videos, and he still has them, to help all of us learn to use zipForms. So that's my little story, but I have to share. So, and this is once again who I am, and I'm employed. Yeah, this is who I am. This is how you can contact me. Leo at the Orange County Realtors, ocrealtors.org, and that's my phone number, 714-375-9313, and that's my extension number of 239. And Anthony already shared with you what our agenda is going to be today. We're going to talk about how to use Docusign. We're going to show you a demonstration from beginning to end, then digital ink from beginning to end. We'll show you the similarities, differences, and answer any questions that you may have.
And we are recording today's session, so everybody attending the class today will get a copy of today's recording for you to be able to review and watch. So we hope that you guys enjoy this. We are also encouraging you to ask as many questions as you want. I will be monitoring the chat as well as the Q&A section. So if Leo does go over something too quickly, please stop us. We'll be more than happy to go over everything again, because we just want to make sure you all get the proper training that you need. And we do have a question. Let's see here. Nin Yang asks, hi, I haven't received this morning's class recording yet. You will. It's still being compiled. So if you're, don't expect that recording to happen right there at the moment at the end of class. It does take our team just a little bit of time to compile everything and get everything together. So you should get that hopefully by tomorrow. Is that okay, Nin Yang?
Okay.
Excellent. Are you guys going to go over how to enter a trust? We can touch on it. Basically, how to digitally sign a trust. Leo can show you how to do that through the party section when we get up to that point.
Mhm.
And it's
We
pretty
just,
easy.
yeah, we'll do the digital signature session. We just won't show you anything further than that. All right, so let's get started. So the next one is, okay, so we have the two major, the two digital electronic signatures that we use within zipForms that are built, that you can be able to access, would be Docusign and Digital Ink. Digital Ink 2.0 has free unlimited signatures. It has a few signature styles, if that's a big concern for you. And you can only sign PDF versions. So not any Microsoft Word documents or any other format, it has to be PDF. Whereas DocuSign is a paid service. So you can get a discount. They allow 5 free documents, 5 free document sends per month. And if you want a comparable service as Digital Ink 2.0, it's $240 a year. You'd actually have to go through either the DocuSign website or go through NAR to be able to sign up for the DocuSign service to get it at that realtor discount. You can simply just Google DocuSign for realtors, and that would also, you could be able to find it that way as well. DocuSign does have more signature styles than what's offered by Digital Ink 2.0. So if a certain font is preferred over what Digital Ink has, you can take a look at DocuSign. And DocuSign can be used in many different formats other than the PDFs. And it's used in multiple industries, not just strictly in real estate. So you'll see, you probably have heard of DocuSign from other professionals. So it's not just limited to what we do in real estate. So there's going to be some Q&As that we're going to cover later today. And this Q&A is just the law regarding security deposit handling was changed on the January 1st, 2015 to allow for electronic signatures. And then which CAR standard forms in the zipForm library may now be signed with electronic signature as a result of that change. And these are the answers. We pulled these questions right from CAR's website to assist you with these type of questions.
And Leo, real quickly, John asks, does zipForms have its own e-sign platform?
Does zipForms have its own e-signing platform?
And
yes, the answer is Digital Ink 2.0 because it's built into zipForms.
So yeah, John, Digital Ink 2.0 is zipForms's default program for you to digitally sign documents. It's just that this class was designed to show agents the difference between the two systems because probably depending on the office that you're with, you probably have heard somebody saying, oh, I send it out for DocuSign, when in actuality, they're sending it out through Digital Ink. So we wanted to show that there is a distinction, even though the terms are loosely thrown around for each other to digitally sign these documents. But we just wanted to show you these differences and talk about the pros and cons of both.
Yeah. So, for example, when somebody says, "Oh, I sent you I DocuSign the documents earlier today," it's kind of like when I say, "Oh, get me some Kleenex," even though the Kleenex may be from a Walmart, Target brand. It's not the Kleenex brand. It's facial tissue. So, to give you an idea, interchangeable. I love props, by the way. Love props. Anyways, as we continue. One big question is, are there any CAR standard forms in the zipForm library that should not be signed with an electronic signature? And this is a list that was put together by CAR. So the application to rent screening fee, notice of change in terms of tenancy, etc. You can go through all of these. If you need further information, you want to contact the CAR legal hotline. Their phone number is 213 area code 739 8282. And once again, it's 213 area code 739 8282. And they can further advise you as to what forms should not be used for electronic signature. I'm going to get out of this slide because I want to show you what it looks like doing one of these fun electronic signature sessions. So here we are on the CAR website. And before I jump in, any questions before I hit this button that says Realtor Secure Transactions?
Leo,
Yes.
does everybody do digital signing, or does digital sign contracts, are they always accepted by people?
So the first question is, does everyone do digital signing? The answer is no, because my mom doesn't have a computer. Okay, so my mom can't do electronic signatures. So, and if you have a client that doesn't have a computer or have access to a computer, doesn't have an email address, or they're not comfortable, if any one of those are true, then this class is not intended for that scenario. You actually have to go through the process of typing in all the information in the contracts, printing it out, and then handing it over to your client for a wet signature.
Or maybe you're working with a title or an escrow, or maybe the type of transaction requires that the documents be physically signed and not digitally signed, which happens periodically as well. It just depends on the scenario. So it's always advisable that before you do any digitally signing of any contract, always double check with all the parties involved, right? From your title, your lender, your escrow, to the other agent on the other side of the contract, to even your clients, to see if everybody's okay with accepting and doing digital signatures. Because the last thing you want to do is just do digital signatures and then find out in the 8th hour, you've got to run around town getting physical wet signatures on the contract. So always ask ahead of time. And again, gauge your client's technical expertise. If they don't have email, they don't have access to a computer, then, or they just flat out tell you, I don't want to do them, those are things to know, right? Because that's going to, you're going to have to adjust to their needs, because one client may want it, another client may not. So I hope that helped. All right, Leo, go on.
All right, so we're going to start off with signing into zipForms, and I've already signed in. I already put in my username and my password that I created long ago with CAR's website. If you haven't logged in, or you don't have access to log in right now, that's okay. Just follow along in the video and you'll watch this later. And you can be able to log in on your own to do the same things that I'm doing here. Practice doing electronic signatures. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to click where it says Realtor Secure Transactions. I still don't like that. Realtor Secure Transactions. But I didn't make the website, so it's just weird to say. I'm going to choose the one that says Lone Wolf. So Lone Wolf Transactions zipForm Edition. So I access zipForm. I hit that. Now I'm going to log into zipForms, and I'm going to wait till I click the golden ticket. And once I do, there it is. And I am now in, there we go. I am now in my transactions. My first, for me, by default, it goes to transactions. For you, it might be dashboard, but for me, it's transactions. So let's go practice sending out documents to, let's send out documents to this one. Walking distance to Fountain Valley. So I did this transaction last class, and I create a party. That's, oops, I did not create a party. So let me get rid of the listing agent. And once again, this is a listing that is live in MLS that I pulled, and I'm not endorsing it in any way. It's just one of the, just using as a practice one. This particular scenario, we're going to be using Charlene Client. Now, if this was for a trust, I would put the information about the trust in the top portion here. And then below, the signing representative would be that person, that individual that's going to sign on behalf of that trust. So once again, the top portion would be the trust information if you're doing a trust. And then below would be the information of the person representing the signing on behalf of the entity, like a trust. So but in this scenario, we're going to keep it simple. Buyer 1 is going to be Charlene, and save it. And if you had more than one buyer, we can throw another buyer. Let's just throw in another buyer just to show you what it looks like. Going back to my address book, you can type in all the information there, but I'm going to save time by choosing Alex Alexander. Alex Alexander used to be my coworker long ago. So it's kind of like, well, using that name again. Oh, and then it did not populate the state. Okay, and the county
Well, it doesn't
is,
need to, but you guys don't have to go through the parties. If you just write the name on the contract,
mhm.
then this section at the top will be automatically filled in under the parties. So what I like about this, as and Leo was just explaining, if you had a trust or an LLC situation where they owned the property or they were purchasing the property, what you can now do is go under the signing representative and say who's allowed to sign for that trust or LLC. Does that help, Elizabeth? Let's see. Elizabeth asked, the trust name would go under the first name. It could. It just depends on the situation. I've seen some people put the trust as the second party and not necessarily as the first. So it just depends on who wants to, how you want the title to be conveyed or what's currently on title, things like that. If buyer 2 was the trust, it would be first name, the Alexander, and then last name, family trust. And then down below under signing representative, Alex Alexander, trustee, would be the signer for that trust. But minimally, you just need a first name, last name, email address in this section.
Yes. That's it.
Sorry, Leo, go on.
No, that's fine. So we have 2 buyers, Charlene and Alex. And then we've threw in some documents. These are the documents that we put in here for the class. For this transaction. So the first, we're going to be using Docusign in this session. So the first step will be to, let's go back up to me and just make sure that we have the right signing service that we want to use, right electronic signature. So I'm going to leave this alone for just a quick moment. Go into Profile and Settings, which I should have done this in the beginning of the class. My apologies. And I go into Settings. And I see that my first choice will be Docusign. So I've already set up a Docusign account in the past. I have linked it. In this case, if you don't have a Docusign account, you can click here and go through this process, or you can go to the Docusign website or the NAR website. Just follow the right steps. And I'm using the free version because you're allowed 5 free signatures a month. And I only use it when I teach a class. So Digital Ink 2.0 is the one that already comes with zipForm. So I'm going to skip that because I want to show you what Docusign looks like.
And Leo,
yes.
How do you link the account?
There would, instead of saying unlink, it would say link the Docusign account. So you already have the Docusign account. You have a username and a password that you log into Docusign to use that service. You would click this link that says, it doesn't say that now, but it would say link your Docusign account. And then you have to log into Docusign with your username and your password.
Awesome.
So once again, the version of Docusign that's comparable to Digital Ink 2.0 will be the $240 one. So just give you a heads up. So I wanted to make sure that this is on Docusign. Oh, and by the way, just a heads up. Right over here. Always look at About Me. If you haven't looked there sometime, if your email address is wrong, fix it, please. This information does not change when there's been an update. So you want to make sure you update this information, your email signature. This is something that I put together. You can use something similar to Sincerely or Sincerely Yours. Put in your name, of course, the brokerage that you represent, and of course your DRE license. Make sure that's in there. And once you make all the changes here, click Save. And if you need to verify what real estate office that is going to appear on the bottom of the forms, just hit offices, and sure enough, there's the correct information. So I have to change the name. Instead of being the Orange County Association Realtors, which is our old name, I'm going to change it to the Orange County Realtors and then click Save. So just make sure that everything is correct before we do sending documents out. So once again, walking distance to Fountain Valley. And really, this place is within walking distance of Fountain Valley. So these are our documents we're going to send out. We're going to do an e-signing session. And then this is a new session. So we're going to click new. And what I mean by a new session, there was not another signature session prior. That's the reason why there was no icons there. So now I'm going to choose the documents that I want my clients to sign. The residential purchase agreement. In this case, we'll do the local area disclosure. And we'll choose and add an external document, one that we have loaded in the past. It's a fictitious document that we found, and it's really just as an example of maybe perhaps your broker has told you, please use this document every time you do this scenario. And this example would be doing an offer on a property. So listing agreement form B, click OK, and then click close. Notice I didn't use the cover sheet because the cover sheet has no action that on my client that needs to be done. Agent visual inspection, I'm skipping that for right now, just for simplicity's sake. And I click close. Now the e-sign packet name comes up automatically. Now you can leave it like that, and you can change it to whatever you wish. I'm going to change it to Docusign session. You don't have to, but I am. The signing service is here. You can switch it to a different signing service if you wish, to Digital Link 2.0 if you want, but I'm going to leave it in Docusign. And then down here would be the documents that we're going to assign: the residential purchase agreement, the Orange County local area disclosure, and that fictitious document that we're going to have the client sign as well. Listing agreement form B. If I go to next, oh, by the way, if I feel like, oh, I don't need this form, I can always click the trash can, and that deletes it, so it gets rid of it. But I'm going to leave it alone. So click next. The first signer, buyer 1, and the second signer, buyer 2. See, we have buyer 1 and buyer 2. Now notice, typically in most scenarios, you're going to have your buyer 1 and buyer 2 typically will have different email addresses. But in this scenario, they have the same email address, and I'll show you what's to be concerned about. Over here, signing order. So the way it's set up by me, when the documents are sent over to Charlene, she will do the signing session first, and it will be only sent to Charlene first. Once she is finished, then the documents will be sent over to Alex Alexander because he's in the second signing order. If I had a conversation, found out from Alex and Charlene, like, oh, Charlene will be out of town for a moment, Alex is available to sign it now, then I can move it up. Or I can just simply change the order right there. Now, I notice this, they're both 1. So what this means, if they're both the same signing order, what this means is that they both will be emailed at the same time, the documents for them to sign. One big problem is that you as a realtor, you want to do your fiduciary duty to go over the documents and make sure that your clients understand what they're signing for. In most cases, this will be the biggest transaction in their lifetime. So you want to make sure that you're the kind of realtor that goes over each step and has them understand each page that they're signing for. You don't want to be accused of not covering something that may hurt your client down the road. So you want to make sure you do your fiduciary duty to take care of your client. In this scenario, they're both going to be receiving emails to the same email address. And this is a point of concern because Charlene could easily can open up Alex's email and vice versa. Alex can accidentally open up Charlene's email. You don't want that to happen because it will show Charlene's going through the process and electronically signing on behalf of Alex and Alex signing on behalf of Charlene. You don't want that. So that's the reason why I strongly recommend that you have a signing order of one person gets it first. You go over the documents with them first, and then you contact the second person and go over those documents with them. If you need to edit any information, like for example, if Alex goes by Alexi, you can fix it right there. If the email address looks wrong, you can fix it right there. So you have the ability to, by clicking that pencil, and make that happen. If you wanted to remove that signer, you can be able to make that happen as well. I'm going to click next. I just want you to see that one more thing. So this may take a moment for it to populate, and some of you have a slower internet speed than mine, so it'll take a little bit longer. So if we look at the top, we selected forms, selected parties, and we're in the session. I mean, we're in the part of doing the signatures. So in other DocuSign sessions that you may have had in other industries, you may have be the one to drag and drop signatures, initials, etc. But here, typically, zipForm does that for you. It automatically tags them. So some cases it is very, very accurate. In some cases, it may not be. So it's entirely up to you to do your due diligence and make sure that you fill in the spots. Like for example, a checkbox, we're going to put it over fire right here. Okay. And it gives you some formatting information if you want to do some changes to it. But let's take a look at Alex. Alex is highlighted in blue, whereas Charlene's in gold. So I want to do the same thing. Grab a checkbox and put it right there. So now both Alex and Charlene both have to check those boxes when they do their signing sessions. And for the most part, like I said again, the great majority of this information is going to be already highlighted for your clients to sign. So you don't have to worry about that. And you can just simply go down. Oops. And then if you wanted to, you can even just, instead of scrolling down like this, you can even just scroll down this side and then click the page that you want to go to. See, go to whatever pages you want to. And that is for, this is within the RPA contract. So the RPA contract has 18 pages, whereas our local area disclosure has 5 pages, and our fictitious listing agreement that we uploaded, this has just 2 pages. No, correction, just 1 page. And then of course, the things that we're reusing will be on the left side. So for example, if I wanted, say, date sign, I'll drag the date field and put it right there. If I want to put a text box, I could put it right there. If I wanted to drop a signature field, I could drop it right there. And we're just showing you all like the steps involved, and name, you get the idea. We're dragging pieces from this side over to this side and vice versa. We're going to go to Charlene, and so this will be filled out by Alex, but then this session, the only thing that our dear friend Charlene has to do is sign here. We'll say she signs there. She will date there, and then we'll put her name over here. You get the idea. Text box, you can put a text box wherever you want to, wherever you want it, wherever it's appropriate, and so on. And then when you're done doing all this, you can do recipient preview just to make sure that you're okay with all the changes that you have inputted. You can review it one last time. So if your client were to go into zipForm, I mean, Docusign, they would click start and start doing the session and start knowing like, okay, if I click this, this is what you're just looking at what the client's going to do. They're going to click sign and etc. So if you wanted to send this out to your client.
And Leo,
Yes.
Just real quickly, Shay asks when signing date, is there a way to add hour and minute as well?
For the signature, it will appear, I think it'll appear on the bottom of it.
Correct. The signature and the date box will automatically have the time and the date of the official signed approval on that one.
Yeah, so in case you're like concerned, which you should be concerned, because in case there's a question down the road, is like, I never signed it. I was out of town at that time. Like, no, I have proof electronically signed it on this date, this time. So, and we'll show you what that document looks like in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to send this out. That's it. You're done. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. You're not done. So, in case you're wondering, this is going to create a folder for you right over here within the transaction. So we go into transactions. Once again, walking distance to Fountain Valley. And you'll see under documents, there's
I
a
think
form,
you
but
have to sign both parties, don't you, Leo?
that's true.
Did
But
you
I
sign
wanted to
them?
show, I want to find that little folder. Oh, there it is. There's that folder.
No, that's not it.
Oh no, I wanted to show where the e-sign folder will end up being at. So this is where the packet is going to be at. And when it finishes, this is going to change because it says it's in progress.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I just want to show that first. Because most of the, well, in the past, we used to have it back in documents, and it was easy to see. You have all your documents that you set up, and then you have the e-packet right there, electronic signature packet. Now they moved it to this tab over here. It says e-sign. So this is going to change from in progress, and it's going to be finalized shortly. So let's go into email. So the first person signing it would be Charlene, and I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because, well, I'll show you with Charlene and then I'll zip right through it for our dear friend Alex. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your client reads electronic record and signature disclosure. There's some rights they have to be aware of. Feel free to pull this up, print it out, have it handy, answer any questions that they may have. So do read this in its entirety. So in case you have any question, they have a question for you, you have the answer. Once they agree to the terms and conditions, they're going to click this and click continue. So this is the part that I'm not a fan of. So instead of like allowing you to scroll down and read it, which you should be doing, if you're not there going over this with the client's going to do this. They didn't read any of that. They're just going to, oh, it's a video game. So I click a video game. When they click the first field that requires a signature, they see that, oh, okay, so this is what my electronic signature is going to look like, as well as my initials. If they're not happy with that, they can change the style of it to anything that they want. Like, let's make it that. If they want to draw it, they can just draw. I would say, nah, go with something that's a little bit easier. I mean, that's just me. I mean, your client may want something else. The client may also have already a signature style already on their computer, so they'll be uploading it. But for me, I'll be using this one.
And real quickly, Leo, Ryan asks, can I add any content here as an agent? Example, on page 1 of the RPA broker firm info, or is that designated for the signatures only? No, Ryan, you would be able to fully edit the form before you send it out for signatures. When you send it out for signatures, it's a locked PDF document and the current terms are locked in. Now, excuse me, back in zipForms, you have the unsigned contract that you can modify, but whatever changes you make on that will not reflect on any of the PDF files that you've already sent out for the signatures. So if for some strange reason, oh, let's change our offer or anything like that, you may want to cancel under your digital signing progress, cancel it, go back into zipForms, modify the form, and then restart it all over again. Even if one client has signed the document, if the other one hasn't signed it, it's not a signed contract. So if terms have changed, then you want to cancel it and then resend it back out to everybody, because if they continue signing on, they're just agreeing to whatever the current terms are. Does that help, Ryan? As my chair squeaks. Go for it, Leo.
All right. So once we determine the name, the initials, etc., then we can go and click Adopt and Sign. This will be what will be on the form from this point forward. Did you see what happened? We just blink and all of a sudden we're in the next spot. So once again, the signature is, see how much has been covered? There it is right there. So it's very important that you do take the time to go over the information that the client is signing for, because honestly, like we talked about, this will be the biggest transaction they probably have done in their lifetime. And to the one person who was asking about the time, there it is. It puts it here. Now this will change once everything is completed and signed. So this is the time that this person initially signed it. So for this part, so we keep going. Next. Let's go to the prior one. There we go. Because I know we skipped that one. Click it.
In Shichi, we will show you how to cancel a digital signing in progress.
Yes. I have another one that's pending from the prior class. I can get rid of that one. Okay. So click this one and you get the idea. Just try, I would say just go over it and click it and then scroll right back and go over the information and click it. Yeah, so you get the idea that you're just kind of like going over the information with the client, having them understand it. Notice the initial field is a certain color right there, kind of a gold color. Yeah. Now this one's a little unusual. See, same color, except that it has an optional portion right here. So the optional portion is a little tiny section right there. So your client can choose to initial. So for example, if they initial, let's just say they agree to this portion, but they don't agree to the other one, and then they can continue on and skip it.
And real quickly, Ning Yan asks, can you repeat on how you got the signature at the beginning?
Now with the CAR zipForms, I should say, was within zipForms, it over 95% of the time, these will automatically be highlighted for the client to sign, initial, etc. 95% of the time. There are some times where you have to drag and drop fields like we did in the previous screen, where we had to find the tools right here and drag it and drop it. Those are what we had to do to make it happen. That's the reason why it's very important that you go over the documents first before you send it out, to make sure that everything that has to be signed for, or everything that has to be addressed, is in there. Excuse me.
Not to mention, when you start signing, the first time you click on sign, the systems, whether it's Docusign or Digital Ink, will ask you to pick a font style. So it's not necessarily your real signature. It's a font style of your name. So that's why it's important to always read through the agreements and understand what a digital signature is. A digital signature is not necessarily your real signature. It's a font style mimicking what your signature would be on a contract.
Yes, very correct.
Ning?
If you're using the zipForm mobile edition on an iPad and you're right there with the client, yeah, they can electronically sign as well if they wanted to. But we're doing this digitally signature session, which is different than having zipForm mobile right in front of the client. So just a heads up. Let me click this. Are we almost done? I don't know. It doesn't tell me how far I am at. I'll click here. Still have no idea how far I have to go, because it is 18 pages. this is our Orange County disclosure form. There we go, because I noticed only because the font style has changed. If I were to skip something, oh, by the way, here's the one that we had to manually input. So we manually inputted this, the checkbox, and this is the signature. And then once you're done, it automatically goes back to the spot that you forgot to finish, which I forgot to click this area. And then once I do that, I can click finish. See, done, select finish to send the completed document. So now that I am done, it will now go over to Alex Alexander, and Alex Alexander will finish. Now, this is just asking me if I want to set up a Docusign account for free and to build, so that way I have the ability to be able to store a document, get a copy of it my own, but I'm already going to get a copy of the document at the very end. And if I need to, I as a client, Charlene client, can always ask my realtor to send me a copy, because you will have access to these documents for the next 7 years within zipForms. So finished, yay. See, not so bad, kind of nice. Okay, so that is having Charlene filling out the document. Now, the next session will be our dear friend Alex Alexander. And there's the session for Alex. How do I know it's for Alex? Oh, look it, because Alex's name's right there. And this is just a general statement, nothing personal, to let Alex Alexander know to wait for me to sign it. It's just, these are just what's automatically going to come up. You're not going to be able to change this information. So I click DocuSign. And once again, I already showed you how to do it with Charlene. I'm going to quickly go through this for Alex. So that way you can see the document with signatures and initials all done. Oh wait, I'm not doing this right. Let's go back. I have to click these fields. There we go. Alex Alexander is going to choose this beautiful font of, oh, well, that's a little fancy. Let's use that one. Adopt and sign. There we go. Now, once again, I don't know how far I'm into the session, except there's this little button right here, this little rectangle. Kind of gives me an idea. You can see that Charlene's initials are there, see? And then my initials will go right next to it. This is really exciting, I know. It's like watching grass grow. But this is what you do for electronic signatures, except you would be filling in this empty time frame by talking to your client. This is that one text field that I'm showing an example of what, if you were to have a text field that the client has to fill out, this is what it would behave, how it would behave. Oh, and then see, finish, done, select, yay. Once again, I'm being offered a free account for Docusign. No, thank you, I'm good. I'll get the documents for my dear friend Leo at the board, or Leo the realtor. And then the last but not least, we'll go into the inbox, then refresh, and this may take a moment. Wow, this was a quick moment. So now we see that all parties have completed. I can now view the completed documents, and I can click it. Now this is from the client's perspective. All this is the client's perspective, and they can see definitely that the two signatures are there. The time frame, the time has changed because this time was 14:05. But when Charlene was done with the session, it was 14:12. That's the reason why the time is different, and so on. So it's now a fully executable document. You can print it, you can save it. This is from the client's perspective, so they can do what they wish to it. And then of course, you'll have a copy of this as well for your records. All right. So, and I'm assuming that Alex will get his later. But we're done with that. So that's what a signing session looks like. If you want me to take, oh, one more thing that I wanted to show you. No, let's go ahead. Oh, yes, let's go ahead and on the other side. Back to the list. Walking distance. Now I want to show you your perspective. Going to eSign. Completed. See, it says completed. It's a Docusign PDF that are stored in here. And then if you want to say, what kind of PDF is it, Leo? Well, it is with the power of the internet, it's a executable document. And there's the signatures. Once again, same exact thing. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the summary. The summary is very important to have because this shows that these documents were electronically signed by both parties. And in case there's ever a dispute, you have this document to support that statement. You do not want to delete this at all. This is you're going to cover yourself in the future in case there's ever a claim that I did not sign this. Like, nope, it's there. So once again, Docusign session has these documents and you're set. And if you want to look at for example, let's look at this one and once again. Yep, there it is. There. And there we go. All done. Didn't really do a good job of putting it in that spot, but you get the idea of how to use the software. That is using Docusign. Any questions about that? And while I'm waiting for someone to type up a question, I'm going to go spring forward to something else, and then I'll do a digital ink session in just a moment.
So far, no questions, Leo.
Okay. What does that say? Only digital ink can be deleted. Are you sure? Sure. Okay, so let me back up again. Okay, so I'm in another transaction. The question was how to cancel it. I open up the e-sign. I click the packet, and I click cancel. Are you sure you want to cancel the signing? Any existing progress will be lost and new invites will be sent upon restart. Yeah, let it go. Let it go, let it go. And then close it. Cancel. There we go. So now you have it on file that it's been canceled. So that was a different transaction from the prior class. Going back to the one we had before. Okay, so we have that. Now I'm going to show you a session through digital ink. We're only going to use one signer on this case because you get the idea that, okay, two signers, two different order numbers, 1 and 2, just to be on the safe side. It's going to behave very similar to Docusign. Docusign and digital ink are very similar.
And Leo, did you show how you would switch back to digital ink?
Yes, I'm going to do that right now. So I can go back into go into profile and settings and change it if I wanted to. Change it if I want to do it there, or I can do it in the e-signing session. But now I'm changing it here. Make sure the time zone is correct for digital ink. It doesn't have that feature within Docusign. Once I make the changes here, I click save. Go back into my transaction because I've chosen digital ink 2.0. And going here, I'm clicking somewhere in the white area. That's not going to be selecting anything. Go into new e-sign. And it's going to, I'm going to send over just these two. Adding external document, I will add the external document. I will, because it behaves a little bit differently. Okay. Yeah, then click close. To be on the safe side, I'm going to just make it simple and get rid of this. Orange County local area disclosure, just showing you how to use the software. Renaming it. Okay. Clicking next. We're going to use Charlene in this example. Only one signer. Clicking next. Just to make it simple. Now, for some of you, this may take a little bit of time because your internet's maybe a little bit slower. You may be at the office, so just be patient when you go through that section. Now it's here with the documents. Now you notice that the tools are not here on the left like in Docusign, it's over here on the right. The different signers would be here. So you see Charlene, and then if Alex was a part of it, you'd see Charlene and then Alex underneath it. So I made it very simple. You wanted to just look at the section, for example, you want to do a drag and drop. We can drag a checkbox right there if you wanted to. That'd be an example, and click drag and drop again to get rid of it. And you can go over this form and make sure that all the information that's supposed to be supposed to be initial, signed, is correct and is properly highlighted. So yeah, for example, it's there, and so on. If we scroll down, we can keep scrolling down if you wanted to, or you can just go to here and choose. I like this version better. You just choose the page you want to go to. So once again, I chose that it's on the this section here, and I chose the page that I want to go to because I already know that based on the number of trainings I've had in the past, the great majority of the spots that should have been initialed are going to be initialed correctly. In this example, this is the fictitious document that we've uploaded. So I have to now do my homework, drag and drop. So for example, let's do the date right there. Let's do a text, just stick it right there. Scroll down a little. Actually, that looked kind of ugly way up there. Close that. Nope. Come on, be nice to me. Come on. Yeah, I want it that way, but I want it down here. There we go, nice and pretty. Okay. And then we're going to put a couple things down here. Drag and drop. Sure. Why don't we put the signature? So you notice I'm clicking it, holding it down, dragging it down to the spot I want it to be. I'm going to put it right down here. I can either drag the name over if I wanted to, or I can go back to my signature field and click this little gear icon. It's kind of hard to see it. Let me drag this up a little higher. This gear icon right here. And I can add a name block, which I click right here. The name now appears. It's kind of hard to see. It's over there. So now I can put it right there. If I click that same thing again, signature field, oh, let's add a date stamp. Date stamp is, where did it go? Oh, there it is, right there. And then I drag and drop it right there. And then I put the signature field right there. So, and you can do more. You can put a checkbox there if you wanted to, whatever's needed for this particular form. This is a fictitious document that we threw together. I'll move it up here though. Looks like it's a real box. And you can also see that, you can also see that you can zoom in on a page if you wanted to. You can zoom out if you wanted to. If you need some of the details, the layout, you can change it. There's a lot of things you can do this way. But for simplicity's sake, yeah, you can also mark it if you wanted to. But reminder that the highlights may darken if you were to print it out. So you don't want to have it highlighted if you're going to have a bit of have it become signed. So I just want to let you know about that. All right, so that's it. So now we're going to send it to the client. This is one thing I really like about Digital Ink 2.0. It allows me to customize the invitation email. So in the previous spot, we saw that Docusign just sent over a generic form or generic information. This I can personalize to my client. Please do not sign without speaking to me. Hello, Charlene. Please do not sign any documents before I can have the opportunity to speak to you first. Okay, you get the idea. I saved it. I'm sending it. And now it's on its way over to our dear friend Charlene. So our dear friend Charlene is waiting for that email. I'm going to close this other one from the Docusign session. And this was from the other one that we canceled. So let me click these and get rid of these. Trash can. So it'll be just a moment before it comes up, and we're waiting for the email to pop up of the signing session for Charlene. Anyone have any questions? Because as you can see, the signing session for Digital Ink, the signing session for Docusign are very, very similar.
None that I can see so far, Leo.
Okay. So in the next spot, there we go. Email arrived. Charlene has an email. Hello, Charlene. Leo is inviting you to participate as a signing party. And then I wrote down an additional message. Hello, Charlene, please do not sign any documents before I have the opportunity to speak to you first. Okay. Then she can click start signing because I have made the effort to contact my client. I have made sure that the client understands that I'm going to make sure I do my fiduciary duty to cover all this information before they do anything. So in this case, Digital Ink is using Authentisign. They require what font do you want right up front. So you can draw your own signature session if you want to. You can choose a different one that's available. I like that one. That's good. So yes, and then there's the disclosure form. So you want to make sure that you have a copy of this. So that way your client, if they have a question about their rights under the consumer consent disclosure, you can be able to answer those questions for them, as well as the EULA agreement. You want to make sure that you're familiar with it. So in case they have questions about it, you can be able to assist them with it over the phone or in person. Click accept. The client will click accept, I should say. And then now they have the ability to read it. And the nice thing is that as they scroll down, they can click this spot or this spot. If they were up here, they can click start and it automatically goes to that spot. But you want to make sure you do your fiduciary duty to make sure you cover all this information first before they click and sign anything electronically. So as we noticed, when it came visually, this box here, the buyer box, is before the signature, but the way it's set up, this will be done first, and then it goes back to the next one. Wow, that was fast. Oh, by the way, the nice thing I love about this is that while the client is going through this, is that the client has an idea of how many things they have to do. So it tells them I have 5 of 19 things they have to sign. So it tells them right there. That's great. So that way they're not complaining like, oh, how much longer is it going to be? How much longer? I have a 9-year-old that does that sometimes. How much longer is it going to take to get there? How much longer? It's like, we just live 3 miles away. We're almost there. So for you parents, you understand. Now, one thing I want to point out, see, this is a color blue. That's a color blue, and that's a color different. So this one has a check mark and a X, and that is initials. That was something different. So if I click this, it now tells me, and this is beautiful, what I like about this. This gives the client a strong understanding that they can either accept, decline, or cancel. The cancel would be like, I need to further have a conversation with my realtor, you, to discuss about the liquidated damages section or any of this section. If they can choose decline if they wish, they can choose to accept it. So if they were to click decline, which is okay, but let's say they can click to accept it. So if you scroll up, there's their initials for accepting, and there's their lack of initials under liquidated damages. So I'm just showing you what, when there's an option involved, what it looks like. So for speeding up the process, I'm just going to play the world's worst video game ever. Oh, by the way, see when we click this, it automatically populated the date. Just want to point that out to you. And that's true for CAR documents. And then automatically populated the date. And then I'm going to put in a Fountain Valley. There we go. That's a nice little font there they chose. Okay, good. And then click this box and signs. Notice that these fields were not filled in until after they clicked and signed it. Now the client can be able to stay and review it one more time. They can reset this whole session and start from the beginning, or they can complete and sign it. And notice up here, progress is 100%, 19 of 19 mandatory field signatures. Perfect. So complete and signing. Thank you. You have successfully reviewed and signed. Okay, great. So what this means, the next box, the next screen will be like, oh, part of the zip forms or Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf has a zip community. So if this is a client that you're going to be working with on a regular basis, like an investor, your client can be able to sign up for a free zip community account. But if this client is not comfortable with that, or this client's not going to be doing a lot of transactions with you, then they can just skip it. They don't have to. It's not a requirement. So they can skip this. So once again, they don't have to sign up for a zip community account. That's it. And I'm going to close that up and then go back into our emails. And in just a moment, it'll populate that. Oops, let me get rid of that one email. There we go. The new email just came out. Signing complete Digital Ink 2.0 session. There it is. The signing has been successfully reviewed and signed by all parties, which is Charlene. And now they can download a copy by clicking this button where it says here. So they could see what they've signed, etc. There's a signature, there's the date, etc. So they can go through that if they wanted to. And the same thing is true with the listing agreement, etc. So if they want to, they could print it, they could email it. I mean, they can download it to the computer. It's entirely up to them. On your end, however, let's go back. Oh, that's, yep, created. Going back and going back in a walking distance. Going into the e-sign section. And we see that the Digital Ink 2.0 session is done and it's completed. So we open that up. There we are. The 2 PDFs that are signed is completed, signed by Charlene, our client. And we can retrieve the signed documents. We can view the details if we wanted to. There's the details if you wanted to review it. If you wanted to look at the individual documents, you can be able to do so. And of course, this will be stored in zip forms for 7 years if you need this information. Okay. That's it. Oops, I forgot something. Documents, documents, documents. And there we go, Digital Ink 2.0. There we go. So those are our 2 documents, the residential purchase agreement, the listing agreement, and the signing agreement. And if you want to review it, you can. If you want to print it, you want to send it, you want to download it. If you need additional signatures, you can do so. You have all these different choices to choose from. The signing certificate is very important. Do not throw this away. Do not trash it. This is your proof that your client has signed this agreement electronically. So this gives you some information. I like the way this one's laid out. It's a little bit easier for me to understand. So do not throw this away, and it gives you the information as to what has happened. Okay, so you get the idea. So there's your documents you can store for the digital ink session. So you saw Docusign, you saw digital ink. One is free. The other one costs you money. So which one would you choose? It's entirely up to you. Now, a question that's often asked of me is, why would somebody sign up for a Docusign account? And there's a couple reasons. One is, I don't like change. I don't like change. If I'm familiar with Docusign, I want to keep using Docusign. Even if you tell me there's another product out there that does the same darn thing and it's free, I'm going to use Docusign. Like, okay, that's a valid choice. If you're comfortable using a product, then use it. Another thing is that you could be required to use Docusign based on the brokerage that you're with, because perhaps your brokerage uses Docusign in multiple different scenarios in multiple different industries, because Docusign has that flexibility to work in different industries. So definitely, if your brokerage requires you to use Docusign, use it. That's fine. Just want to let you know that both Docusign and digital ink within zipForms, you can use it other than real estate documents. If you wanted to, you can upload, for example, any other document that you needed to, and send out for electronic signatures if you wish. So that's just an example of, this is just an example of how to use the service to take care of your clients. So any other questions you have for me today?
I'm seeing some thank yous.
You know, the strange thing about this class, it's listed as a 2-hour class. But as you see here, I'm just showing you the difference between Docusign and digital ink, and they're very, very similar. It's, and all it comes down to is what your preference is. And honestly, practice with both if you want to. Sign up for that free Docusign account if you want to. It's not a necessity. If you're curious about it, you can. But if you're happy with not paying for anything, and it does the same darn thing, yeah, use digital ink and practice, practice, practice. And while I'm looking for other questions, I'm going to show you a source of information. On our website, ocrealtors.org, under education, we have a video library. And sure enough, under that video library, we have zipForms. And sure enough, we have advanced zipForm digital signatures. So in case you need a refresher, they're there. In case for whatever reason you lose the link that has today's class on it, that's okay. Just go to choose any of the videos there. They're there to take care of you. Another one, there's another digital signing one. Take advantage of it there. It's there to help you learning zipForms. Now, if you run into a situation where it's like, oh my goodness, it's a Saturday. Oh my goodness, it's a Sunday. What do I do? Well, it's okay. Then you want to contact zipForm support. So with CAR, the California Association of Realtors, you can reach out to them at 213-739-8227. They're typically open Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, I believe. ZipLogix, they're owned by Lone Wolf. They're open 24 hours weekdays, and weekends is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I know it says Eastern Standard Time 10 to 10, but I translated 10 to 7 to 7 for California. Their phone number is 586-840-0140. If you have any legal questions, you want to contact the CR Legal Hotline, and that's 213 area code 739-8282. And there's additional support from Lone Wolf. And there's their number, 866-279-9653. Choose option 1. I'm going to minimize this, but but honestly, you could find this information here in this webinar, or you can just go to CAR really and go through zipForms and find the information there. And you're thinking, well, where would I find it in zipForms? Oops, this is not what I want to open. This is my work stuff. If I have additional questions, no, don't log me out. No, don't log me out. It logged me out. There is a help feature within zipForms that can be able to assist you. And I'll show you where it's at after I get into zipForms. And what you just saw me go through is going to happen to you. So just a heads up, it does sign you out. So just be prepared for that. Be patient, take deep breaths like, okay, all right, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. So the guided help will be on the bottom right corner. You can click that. You can go over the quick tips. You can schedule trainings if you want to. There's videos that ZipLogix offers, not through us, but it's done by ZipLogix. Another resource would be Zip Tips through the California Association of Realtors. If you have, there's another section for help as well. Learning Center, in-app guided help, send us feedback. We also provide one-on-one through a webinar, and that would be done through Anthony. So you'd contact him for assistance. I think that's it for using Docusign digital ink services. I know, it's so exciting, Anthony, it makes you cry.
It does.
So beautiful, I know.
Well, are there any other questions from anybody? Well, if there are no other questions, we want to thank you all for attending today. Thank you so much for the kind words. I hope you all really enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll see you back here at about 3:30 for our final ZipForms class of the day, ZipForms Advanced Tools. Other than that, if you guys do have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to either Leo or myself. Leo, what's your email address?
I would lie if it was Tony@ocrealtors.org.
Well, I was going to give my email, but what's your email?
My email address is leo@ocrealtors.org. Once again, leo@ocrealtors.org. I emphasize the S in there. And then my phone number, work phone number is 714 area code 375-9313. And my extension number is 239. If you were to call the Laguna Hills location, you can still hit 239. That'll get you over to me. So that'll be fine.
And with that said, I want to thank everybody for attending today. Hopefully you'll get to practice some of what we showed you today or what Leo showed you today. And with that said, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Again, you will get a copy of today's webinar. You should get a copy of that, hopefully emailed to you by tomorrow. And with that said, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.